Hello friends, today we are going to start a new chapter, crop production and management. In this chapter, we are going to learn about agricultural practices, implements of agricultural practices, crops, cropping season, cropping methods, and also animal husbandry. So let's start. First of all, what is crop? When plants of the same kind are grown at the one place on a large scale are called as crops. There can be a crop of wheat, which means all the plants in the field are of the wheat. There can be different crops, different types of crops like cereal crops, vegetable crops, and crops. We can classify them on basis of the season they grow. We'll talk about it later. But first of all, we will talk about different ways of cropping. One of them is intercropping. In intercropping, two or more crops are grown in the same time, the same field. It is called as intercropping. Like there can be one row of leguminous plant, the other row will be of wheat plant, again of leguminous and then of wheat. So leguminous plant will fix the nitrogen in the soil, and the wheat plant will use the nitrogen for their growth, and we will have a better quality of wheat from our field. And these plants are grown close enough so that they can interact biologically, so that the wheat plants can take the nitrogen from the leguminous plants. Then, as I told you, we have broadcast of climate, different climatic conditions, different range of temperature, different range of humidity, and a different range of rainfall as well. So on the basis of this climatical conditions, that different parts of our country have different cropping seasons, but the most broad cropping pattern can be identified as the kharif crops and the rabi crops. So basically, kharif crops are the crops grown in the rainy season. So in our country, rainy season starts from June to September. So June we sow the seeds, and in the September we harvest them. So some crops that are grown in kharif season are paddy, maize, wheat, and cotton. This all plants need more water than the wheat, or you can say linseed, and as well soybean and groundnut. They also need more water compared to wheat, which are rabi crops. Then the rabi crops. The crops which are grown in winter are called as the rabi crops. Simple. But the rabi season in our country starts in the October and ends in the March. So in the October we sow the seeds, in March we harvest them. And wheat, gram, gram. This one is the gram, and linseeds. These are the rabi crops grown in the rabi season or the winter season. One more, there is also one season called Z season, as ZAID, which is the summer season. In this, we grow vegetable crops and fruit crops. Then there are different methods, or we can say the basic practices of crop production. So in this, first thing we do is plowing or tilling of the soil. In this plowing or tilling of the soil, we turn the soil. We will learn about it in detail. Sowing of seeds, manure and fertilizers, irrigation, protection, harvesting, and storage. We are going to learn about storage as well. Preparation of soil. Preparation of soil involves plowing, leveling, and manuring. So plowing, the process of turning and loosening the soil, is called the plowing. So in the plowing, we take the underlayer of the soil above so that our plants can use that nutrients from that soil. So while plowing, we also insert air into the soil, which helps for the growth of earthworms. You know, earthworms, they are called the friend of the farmer. So the loosening of soil also allows air to, there are air gaps created, and this will also help the roots to breathe, and the plants will permeate their roots deep inside the earth, and they can get nutrients. And then there are different instruments for plowing. These days we use the cultivators. These days we use the cultivators which are attached to tractors. Oh, my tractor is, let it be. Which they are attached to the tractors. But before ancient time, we used the plow. Plow here mainly there is the beam which is drawn by the bull. Here we place the bulls, a pair of bulls. This is called the plow shaft, and this is the plow share. Okay, this is penetrated in the soil, and it goes along. It is drawn by the ox or bulls, and the soil is turned. The undersoil will come on the surface, and our surface soil will be just a little inside. Then we can also use hope. This is used manually. This is used manually. Okay, we have to do it by our hands, so this takes more time. It is also used to remove weeds and also for loosening of the soil. This is a strong broad belt of iron which is fixed at the end of wooden stick, and this we have to take and penetrate it inside the soil and take it out again. This will help to lose the soil. This cultivators, this is attached to the tractors these days. This will penetrate this so into the soil deeply, and when the tractor moves forward, the soil is loosened. And nowadays there is modern hoe also. And one more, these cultivators save time and labor. The next is sowing of seeds. After plowing of soil, good seeds are sown into the soil. There is activity in our book which is 1.1. In this, we take a beaker, and in that beaker we add water. In that water, we put a handful of any seeds, wheat seeds, or you can also put rice grains. And after some time, you will see few grains will be floating on the top, and many of them will be settled down. This is why, because the good seeds will be full. They will having be materials inside the seed coat, so they will be having weight, so they will be sinking in the water. But the damaged seed, bad seeds, they will be hollow from inside, so they will have lightweight. They will be not having that density, so they will float on the water. This is called the collection of seeds. Then there is uh, two methods. One is the traditional tool, which is seed drill, which is traditional method, and a modern seed drill. In the traditional seed drill, there is a funnel with a long neck. Here we put the seeds, and this is penetrated deep in the soil, and the seed is placed here, and then this is taken to the other side, and this is covered with the soil again. Okay, it is not covered with soil, please excuse me. So this is taken again this way. It is printed a little inside, the seed is sown, again next. This takes time and labor. Then there is this manually. We can also do the broadcasting. We can what do the farmers do? They will take just a handful of seeds and spread in this much area just randomly. So in this method there is problem. There can like this be happening. There will be a growth of plants here much, but here there will be just one or two plants. They will scatter. There will be no uniform method. All the plants will be everywhere. No way, no. And they can be also crowding at some places so that the crop plants will be competing for sunlight, water, and nutrition. And the modern um, seed drill. So this modern seed drill is advantageous that it will sow the soil at the proper depth in the soil, proper distance, and get the seed covered by soil after being sowed. These are the advantages of the seed drill, modern seed drill. Then adding of manure and fertilizer. So the maintaining of the nutrients in the soil is a very important for the proper growth of the plants. The nutrition in soil will nearly get over if we grow crops year after year. The first, Jhum cultivators which live in the forest, the tribal community. What do? They first grow in this area the plants for 1 year, means two cropping seasons, and the next year they leave this place just like that. They will not grow anything there, follow, and they will go to another piece of land. They will grow there for 1 year and then keep this place hollow, follow, and then go here. And after this, here they have lived it for 2 years, so 8 nutrients will be replenished. So they again go to this and again this and this. Like this, the cycle is continuous. So they know how important it is to maintain the nutrients in the soil. They leave the field flow, but our farmers do not have that time. They need to grow crops year after year, so they have to add manure and fertilizers because they can leave the field follow. So nutrients can be replenished by adding manure and fertilizer. There are difference between manure and fertilizers. There are advantages in manure and fertilizers differently. So we will see it in the next slide. So differences between manure and fertilizer. So manure is basically a natural substance which is made in the fields. But the fertilizer is a man-made inorganic salt made in the factories. Manure provides soil with humus. Wow, it's good for the soil. And fertilizers, they do not provide the soil with the humus. Then manure, it is having relatively less reach in plant nutrients, that is NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. But the fertilizers, they are very rich in the plant nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So but there are advantages of using them both. So first, the advantages of the fertilizer: it is very rich in plant nutrients. It will help the plants to grow very much in a large quantity. They will help the plant to grow faster and give us better results or better harvest. Okay, but if we use manure, it will not be providing us that much high amount of harvest or high amount of grains. But there are advantages of using manure over fertilizer. If you use fertilizer for at most 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years, after that the will not be able to grow any plant or any crop. It will be just, it will be not able to grow any crop. But if we use manure for 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years, or 50 years, what will happen? It will give our soil more humus. It will increase the capacity of soil of holding the water. But it will be relatively less. But if you use, it is less in rich, it is less rich in plant nutrients. But if we use it for years, we will see the result. Our crop production will be increased. Yes, it will be increased because the fertility of our own soil will be wow. Yes, it will be just wow. Using of manure over fertilizer, these are the advantages. One more, uh, like other uses or other kind of adding of manure, it is not like adding of manure or fertilizer. It is the way of restoring the nutrients in our soil. One of the things is you can do the crop rotation. In one season, let's take the kharif season, we can grow, uh, kharif season we can grow the soya bean. Or let's take the rabi season we can grow the, oh sorry, in the rabi season we can grow the pea, which is the leguminous plant. Okay, gram, pea, anything which is a leguminous plant. And after that, in the kharif season we grow the paddy, or let's take maize. So this maize or paddy will be giving you very high amount of harvest. And after that, 1 year again, after that you can grow grams here. After that, here you can grow cotton, then the groundnut, then the linseeds, again some mustard, again groundnuts, again linseed. This cycle will be going on and on. But in our region, there are farmers who grow only wheat, or only cotton, or only soybean throughout the year. This will create a deficiency of the nutrient which is needed the most for these plants or these particular crops. Then the irrigation of plants. Irrigation of plants is very important for the plants for proper growth. Because the nutrients given to the soil or to the plants cannot be absorbed by the plants without water. All the nutrients that plants need are water soluble. So the first thing, when the rain falls, the in the soil, the minerals in the soil, the nutrients in the soil get dissolved in water, and this water is then taken by absorbed by the plants, and that is why they get the nutrition from the water. Like they get absorb the nutrients through the water. And water is also needed for photosynthesis. If they are not able to do photosynthesis, means they are not able to grow food for us, to make food for us and themselves. They will not be able to make food for themselves, then they will wilt eventually. And so water is very important for the proper growth of plants. And there are different types of irrigation systems. Some are the traditional ones, some are the modern ones. So first, the traditional ones. In the traditional ones, there is moth, chain pulley, rahat, or dekhi system. So in the moth system, there is a pulley here. Okay, and this is a bag. It goes down, fills with water, comes up, and this farmer then let it just flow through its field. The plants will absorb as much as it wants. The soil will absorb as much as it wants, and the rest of water will be get evaporated. So this is the waste of water. Then second, chain pulley, same. This is pulled by a human. So it goes here, here, there must be a pond or anything, gets filled up by the water, comes here, and the water is dropped and again goes, and this cycle is continuous. This chain is continuous. And again this system also allows the flow water to flow through the field. Again the disadvantages is evaporation of water, so the wastage of water. Rat system, it is also a kind of pulley system. This animal, this oxen, will go round and round, and as it goes here round, it will go here round, because of which the water will be taken up from here and will be dropped here. Okay, and again this one will let the water flow through the fields. The plants will take, soil will take, remaining the sun will take, like evaporation. I just want to tell that. The ecosystem, first a man push it down, the goes inside, takes, when get filled by the water, again comes up because of the weight of the stone. And then the person or the farmer takes this water and again let it flow through the field. Again the wastage of water. So what we understand, the traditional method, in the traditional method there is wastage of water. That is why we use the traditional method less, or very less. And now next is the modern methods. In the modern methods we have the drip irrigation and the sprinkler irrigation. In the drip irrigation, the water is flown through the pipes, and the pipes will be near the roots of all the plants in the field. So the pipes will drop a drop of water, a little drop of water, to the roots of the plant, like this, drop by drop by drop. So there is no water wastage here. The areas where there is shortage of water or drought, this method is the best. Then the sprinkler system, it is like rain for the plants. They will be delighted to have this. It is not for the plants, for the areas who is having drought or having very shortage of water, but surely it is for the areas which is having water in not lot nor less amount, that is average amount. Yeah, these are the advantages of the modern methods, that water conservation is there, and as there is a shortage of water everywhere in the world, the modern methods are the best for the production of crops. Then the protection from the weeds. The weeds are the plants that grow along with the crop plants. They compete with the plants for sunlight, nutrition, and as well water. The removal of weeds is called the weeding. This can be done manually by sickle with the help of weedicide. This can be also used biologically, or also just done manually by just with hands, by pulling them out with the roots. But one specific important thing, this should be done before flowering, of the weeds. If the flowering of the weeds happened and after that you take out the weeds, no use, because the weeds have already flowered, already produced fruits, already scattered the seeds, and there will be hundreds of weeds in your field after that. So one of the weedicide is 2,4-D, used majorly used in all the areas now. Why? Because there are more weeds, so they done it manually by sickle, very less, because all the farmers and they are having more work, and mostly human beings are lazy. They want to take advantage of the science, and that is why there is science. to make the life of simple people easy. Next, harvesting of the crops. We have done all the things of this chapter, or you can say the production of the crops. Now we will be harvesting the crops. The cutting of crops after they mature is called the harvesting. This can be done either by sickle or pull them out of the soil, or you can also use the combine. Combine is the modern method again. Combine does the harvesting, the threshing, and the winnowing of the crops. So that what is threshing and winnowing? Threshing is just separation of seed from the chaff. From the chaff, the seeds, the seeds are stick to the stem. So we have on a stone, we beat them together, many plants together. We beat them, and the grains are all over here. Okay, so grains are detached from the chaff. This is called the threshing, and the separation of seed and chaff are called as winnowing. What we do here, there is one soup. It is called as in Marathi. I don't know what is called in Hindi. Or just take a container filled with the mixture or the seed and the chaff, and here is a huge fan. Yes, and a lady or anybody stands here. Yes, anybody stands here and let it fall down, and with the help of the big fan, all the chaff that is light heads away, and the grains which are not heavy or the good grains which are heavy, they form a pile here. So the chaff and the grains are separated. And there are also harvesting festivals like Pongal, Holi, Diwali, Baisakhi, Nabhanya, and Bihu. These are all festivals associated with the harvest. So they are called the harvesting festivals. Then the final issue, storage. The harvesting of harvested grains should be kept away from pest, moisture, and microbes. So the grains are first dried in the sun, and then they are kept in jute bags in the houses or in the cellars on the granaries. They are the large. Okay, they are the large storages for the grains. And at the house, many times many times you have seen your mommy or your grandma putting neem seeds, neem leaves into the jute bags of wheat, or any container of wheat, in that she puts dried neem leaves. This is for the storage of large quantity of grains, and for the storage of large quantity of grains in big godowns. They have a specific chemical treatment, and they also are required to protect them from the pest and microorganisms. That is why they will have to undergo the chemical treatment before being stored in the sloughs at the granaries. The last but not the least, animal husbandry. Food from the animals. Animals are reared in houses or homes or at the poultry farm. There is a law that they should be provided with the proper food, proper shelter, uh, proper food, proper shelter, and care. Sorry, I forgot writing here. Care. They need care. They are, after all, they have the senses. They are the animals. When this is done on a large scale, when we have a large poultry farm or large farms with the animals reared, it is called as animal husbandry. There is a large number of people in our country or in the world who take non-veg food or animal as the food, like the on the coastlines of the India, mostly like here the Konkan and Kolkata. Here they have fish as the most important part of their diet. And this is where we have finished our chapter. This is where we have finished our chapter. So please, if you have any doubts, give it in the comment section. And thank you for watching.